Hans Landa never raises his voice, and that's exactly why he's the most terrifying villain in Tarantino's filmography. In Inglourious Basterds, the farmhouse interrogation scene works because Landa's smile does more damage than any weapon on screen. By the end of this video, you'll know why polite people are sometimes the ones you should fear the most. Why does a man offering you milk feel more dangerous than a man holding a gun? Here's the twist. We're taught that threats look like anger. But the scariest kind of control never looks like a threat at all. It looks reasonable. It looks friendly. It looks like someone who just wants to talk. This is cinematic psychology, where every villain you've ever feared was actually teaching you something about yourself. It's 1941, rural France under Nazi occupation. Quentin Tarantino opens Inglourious Basterds inside a small farmhouse, sunlight coming through the windows. A dairy farmer named Lapidite sitting across from an SS officer known as the Jew Hunter. The scene runs for almost 10 minutes, and for most of it, nothing violent happens at all. Landa asks for milk. He compliments the scenery. He talks about rats versus squirrels like they're old friends discussing the weather. He takes out a pipe, fills it slowly, and asks permission before lighting it, like a guest who respects the house he's sitting in. Underneath the floorboards, a Jewish family is hiding. Everyone at that table knows it. Landa knows the farmer knows it. And still, he keeps smiling, keeps talking, keeps drawing the conversation out longer than it needs to go, because the length of the conversation is the point. Every extra minute he stays calm is another minute. Lapidite has to sit with the dread of not knowing when the calm will break. The first principle here is weaponized courtesy, using politeness not to build trust, but to strip the other person of any excuse to defend themselves. Landa never accuses Lapidite of anything directly. He compliments his farm, praises his daughters, savors his milk slowly and deliberately, like he has all the time in the world. That calm isn't kindness. It's a demonstration that he's in complete control of the room, and that patient doesn't need to shout to prove itself. If Lapidite got defensive, he'd look guilty in a conversation that, on the surface, was never even accusing him of anything. You've felt a version of this. A boss who never raises their voice but somehow makes you feel smaller with every calm sentence in a performance review. A relative who brings up your mistakes at dinner in the gentlest possible tone, so that getting upset makes you look like the unreasonable one. The volume was never the threat. The certainty underneath it was. The second principle is predictability as control. When someone removes all uncertainty from a conversation, they remove your ability to plan a way out. Landa switches from French to English midway through the scene, and instead of just switching, he explains his reasoning for the switch in careful detail before he even asks his real question. He narrates his own thought process out loud, turning the interrogation into something closer to a lecture. Lapidite can't guess what's coming, because Landa has already told him exactly how this is going to unfold, step by step, and there's still nowhere to run. Knowing the plan doesn't help you when you have no power to change it. This is the same feeling in a negotiation where the other side has already mapped every one of your responses before you've said a word. It's the feeling of arguing with someone who's 3 moves ahead, who's already decided how the conversation ends and is just walking you through the transcript. You're not being outsmarted at the moment, you're being paced long before the moment even started. The third principle, and the emotional core of this scene, is the mask of civility. Evil doesn't announce itself, it dresses in manners. Landa finishes his glass of milk, sets it down gently, and only then reveals he's known about the hiding family the entire time, that everything before this point was performance. His face doesn't change, his posture doesn't change, there's no triumphant sneer, no raised voice to mark the turn. The horror of that moment isn't the reveal itself, it's realizing the warmth was never real, not for 1 second of that conversation, and you can't go back and find the moment it turned fake because it was fake from the beginning. That single image, a monster with perfect table manners, calmly finishing his drink, while a family's fate is decided beneath his feet, is the one people remember years after watching this film. It's not the gunfire later in the movie that people quote, it's the milk. Strip away the war, the uniform, the floorboards, And what's left is a warning that has nothing to do with Nazis and everything to do with how you read people in your own life. We're trained to associate danger with volume, with anger, with visible aggression, because that's the version of threat we can see coming. But the people who do the most damage in your life rarely announce themselves that way. A manipulative partner who stays calm while slowly cutting you off from friends. A toxic manager who never yells, but somehow makes every mistake feel like it's your character, not your work. A friend who isolates you so gradually, you don't notice the room emptying out around you. They stay calm, they stay likable. That's precisely how they get away with it for so long. Because we're too busy watching for the wrong signal. The quotable line to carry out of this video is simple. Calm isn't always safety. Sometimes it's just control wearing a better costume. Landa taught an entire generation of viewers to distrust the smile in the room before they distrust the raised fist. 3 things to remember from Hans Landa's farmhouse scene. 1. Weaponized courtesy removes your ability to object without looking unreasonable, because the threat is never spoken out loud. 2. Predictability as control takes away your exits before you even notice they're gone, because knowing the plan isn't the same as having power over it. 3. The mask of civility means the most dangerous people in a room are often the most polite ones in it, and that politeness is doing work. You're not meant to notice. If this scene lives rent free in your head, type Landa in the comments, so I know to build the next breakdown around him specifically. Next episode, we're getting inside Anton Chigurh's coin flip logic, and why letting chance decide someone's fate is its own form of psychological control, maybe the coldest kind there is. Subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss it.